In the headquarters of Denning Pharmaceutical, former worker John takes the elevator and opens his suitcase to expose he has a gun. At the government ground, he speedy kills numerous higher U.S. and is going back to the reception where he sees the police. John says that any person needed to do something and then he self-deletes. Afterward, information programs provide an explanation for that Denning Pharmaceutical is liberating a new remedy that's getting FDA approval despite the fact that is inflicting deadly side consequences which have already killed 3 people. Due to this, the corporation is facing a prime lawsuit and its shares are falling, so they're seeking to take away all of the proof. An vital layer known as Alan makes a decision to take the case towards the employer, a good way to substantially affect his career. He assigns prison assistant Tom to attend to the paperwork, and on Monday he ought to replace his key card earlier than entering the workplace due to the fact they get reset each weekend. Due to the fact that John became their key witness and that they misplaced him, Tom tells Alan he desires to upload heart attack victims to the pharmaceutical case. However, Alan forbids him from doing so due to the fact minor sufferers do not make money. Then Tom is called to the office of some other boss to speak about the Gambizzi crime circle of relatives case. Tom sent a memo because he desires to be a part of that case. But his boss destroys it and scolds Tom for no longer paying extra interest to the cases he already has. In a while, Tom is going to the file room to place away the report Alan turned down. His female friend and co-worker Anna visits him so they can proportion a few mystery kisses. Some hours later, Alan proclaims that since the servers had been down considering remaining nighttime, everybody can go home. Before Tom can go away, Alan tells him that he made a risky mistake with the memo he wrote earlier, so he fires him for it. Inside the elevator, Tom is joined by way of a man he by no means noticed earlier then. Once they make it to the reception, the man leaves a suitcase at the floor and another man picks it up earlier than taking the elevator too, which Tom unearths suspicious. After checking what ground the man went to, Tom tries to observe him, but his keycard has already been reset. He attempts to depart, however he sees the stranger looking ahead to something out of doors and receives concerned, so he asks the defend to spark off the elevator for him. As soon as he makes it to the workplace, Tom appears around and discovers his co-worker Roger is at Tom's desk for some reason, so he asks his buddy to open the door for him. Roger behaves unusually and Tom notices the document he put away at the table. Getting more suspicious, he makes his phone begin recording and hides it in a pencil holder. Afterward, he continues searching around and discovers the mysterious man messing with the strength container. One of the legal professionals procedures the man to invite for an ID, not believing him while he says he's protection. Whilst the attorney attempts to make a call to verify his presence, the man takes out a gun and kills her. Whilst the killer takes the body away to cover it, Tom rushes to the restroom and opens a stall to find out the body of the safety protect. While he examines on him, the restroom sensor activates the flushing, so Tom closes the door and climbs on the toilet to hide. Quickly the killer comes in and washes the blood off his face whilst speaking to the frame, mentioning he's going to want the keys. Tom manages to move into the opposite stall by sneaking under the wall right earlier than the killer takes the keys, gun, and radio from the body. Seeking to cover, Tom climbs on this bathroom and nearly activates the flushing again. However, happily the killer turns on his restroom first and doesn't pay attention Tom. Then the killer destroys the radio and leaves to close off the hearth sprinkler before going into the file room in which he installs a few explosives. In the meantime, Tom rushes to the damage room and unearths Roger.so. He tells him approximately the killer earlier than they rush into the elevator. Regrettably, it isn't operating, in order that they run down the corridor and try the emergency exit. However, the killer had already broken the bar and it cannot be opened, so they're trapped. They return to the main region and try and use the reception PC, however the net is down. Tom notices the killer is coming, so the duo hides. However, the killer nevertheless sees the laptop has been used and receives suspicious. After disconnecting it, he enters the desk region, revealing he also has a keycard. As soon as he's out of sight, the duo leaves their hiding spot to try and consider something else. Tom takes Roger's keycard and opens the door to the government places of work to discover Alan, so he sends Roger to find his smartphone and contact the police. As Tom turns on the lock, he drops his jacket and it receives caught within the door. Whilst Tom searches for Alan, Roger makes his to his desk and makes use of his phone to name his spouse. But before he can inform her something, the killer reveals him and makes him say the whole thing is first class. Tom sees all this via the window and so he runs to the spoil room to discover a knife. After Roger hangs up, the killer takes out his gun and asks if there may be each person else operating late. Roger lies and says it is simply him, so the killer grabs a cable and proceeds to choke him. That is all recorded through Tom's telephone. By the time Tom comes again, there is nobody at the table. He grabs his telephone and attempts to call 911, however it runs out of battery. After connecting the charger, he appears around the office and reveals Roger's body in his chair. At that second, the killer comes lower back and sees the jacket at the door, so Tom grabs Roger's key card and quickly hides within the closet, where he is startled with the aid of the attorney's frame. In the meantime, the killer starts dragging Roger's frame at the same time as making a call on his very own cell phone. Complaining to someone because no one become imagined to be up there. Tom's telephone gets sufficient rate to start ringing. The killer examines it out and after brushing off Anna's name, he discovers the video of his homicide. He right away deletes it and appears at the settings to find Tom's call and photo. Knowing this is the jacket's proprietor, he calls out Tom's call, however Tom remains hidden under a table. After the killer leaves, Tom runs into another office and lighting a few paper on hearth to attempt to activate the hearth alarm, but it isn't always working either. Suddenly Tom notices someone in an workplace inside the neighboring building. So he makes a bigger flame inside the trash can and pushes it towards the curtains to begin a proper fire. This gets the neighbor's attention and Tom makes a gesture to invite him to call for assist. Alas, the killer smells something burning, so he grabs a fireplace extinguisher and rushes to the fire. Tom sees him and runs away earlier than the killer comes internal to position out the flames, then he pretends he is using the smartphone so the neighbor might not name for help. Minutes later, Tom makes it to the reception and uses the computer to create a brand new keycard. The killer nearly finds him, but he places the PC in sleep mode and hides underneath the desk. After the killer leaves, Tom resets all the locks and now the killer can't use his card anymore. In a while, Tom turns off most of the lighting inside the constructing and rushes to Alan's workplace, only to find him speaking to a lady. At that second, the killer shoots the workplace lock, so Tom hides in the back of the door. The man appears to be familiar with Alan, however when the woman takes out a gun, he straight away kills her. Then he is taking her gun and leaves, telling Alan to live in his workplace. As soon as they're by myself, Tom asks about the female's identity and Alan famous she's part of the Gambizzi crime-owned family. She was presupposed to testify against her husband. So Alan guesses the killer turned into sent by the mafia to close her up. At that second, they listen a weird noise and discover the killer is attempting to get into the document room through hitting the door with an axe, however it's not possible because it's bolstered metallic and bulletproof glass. In a while, Alan and Tom try to break out, however should disguise once they listen the killer coming. The guy arrives with the janitor and does an affect of his voice, asking Tom to pop out or he'll die. Suspicious, Tom asks what nickname he always used for the janitor and glaringly the killer doesn't understand. So Tom guesses the janitor is already dead. Subsequent, the criminal turns the elevator's lower back on, trying to cause them to come out. Alan and Tom take a look at the hall and find the janitor's body with observe that asserts you win. At that moment they listen a cell phone ringing and rush to the desk, best to be stunned when Tom unearths his personal variety calling. Alan guesses it is a trap and attempts to escape, inflicting the killer to shoot him inside the arm. The duo starts off evolved walking away and the killer chases them as he continuously fires at them so that they cover in an office where they are able to lock the door. This one is not strengthened, although so the crook makes use of the all to break it down. By the point he catches as much as them, they're already moving into the report room. Tom attempts to apply the killer's phone to call for help, however it is protected with a password. The man nonetheless has Tom's phone and since it would not have a PIN, he texts Anna to invite her to come over. Determined to help her, Tom receives an idea and begins the usage of the copy machine. At the entrance, the killer shall wheel Anna in and holds her at gunpoint, inquiring for her smartphone to wreck it. At that second, Tom indicates up and gives to exchange the keycard for Anna. But the killer isn't satisfied till Alan additionally comes to control the negotiations. After the gun is dropped, Alan takes the cardboard to the criminal who lets move of Anna, however takes out the shield's gun. Alan pushes him to store Anna, so the killer punches him and drags him to the document room. There he complains that Alan did not clean the workplace, that means they have been working collectively. After the killer activates the explosives, Tom shows up with the gun, most effective to discover the criminal has all the bullets. Alan uses the chance to run and the door closes, leaving the killer locked inside the report room. He tries to get out with the keycard, however it doesn't paintings due to the fact Tom gave him a fake one he made with the replica gadget. All at once the explosive goes off and starts a fire on the record cabinets. The killer tries to position it out to no avail and passes out due to the smoke. Then Tom comes inside and after throwing the gun away he places the fireplace out by way of pushing the cabinets and making them fall. Suddenly the killer wakes up and attacks Tom, so a combat ensues. The man quickly overpowers Tom and Anna cuts in to assist, however she handiest receives punched. Tom makes use of the distraction to punch the man in once they each fall. Alan shows up and shoots the killer. Before death, the man whispers the numbers 11 to 22 and Tom takes the keys from his pocket. At the same time as Anna uses the keys to spark off the elevators, Tom goes lower back to the desks and unearths the case file where he discovers that the pharmaceutical business enterprise wanted to do away with all of the evidence. Then he types 11 to 22 on the killer's smartphone and unlocks it to discover Alan's telephone-wide variety. It seems Alan was paid via the pharmaceutical organization to lose the case, so he employed the man to spoil the documents and kill Roger. Alan claims the organizations are greater risky than the mafia and tries to bribe Tom. But he turns the money down and leaves with the file. Now not trying to visit prison, Alan self-deletes. Quickly the police arrive, so Tom rushes to leave with Anna earlier than they can be seen. Within the report room, the reproduction machine is making thousands of copies of the case evidence. This is discovered via a cop who happens to be the man who left the gun for the killer. The officer unearths Tom's cell phone within the killer's hand and right away calls a hitman to ship him after Tom silences him. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch extra films like this. Thanks for watching.